What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you guys haven't seen the last video, we introduced an EJ6 to the channel with the case swap that's in for a turbo kit installation. Today we're going to be starting the first part of this turbo kit installation. We're going to be working with the hot parts of the turbo kit, which includes the turbo manifold, the wastegate, the turbo itself, and possibly the fabrication for the downpipe and the dump tube. As mentioned, I'm going to be doing this turbo kit installation in segments. We're going to be working on the hot parts in one video. We're going to be doing the cold side in one video, which includes all the charge pipe, the blow-off valve, and the intercooler installation. And then we're going to do another video where we're going to kind of like button up the turbo kit with possibly an exhaust upgrade, fuel pump, injectors, you know, whatever else we need to get the turbo kit ready for the dyno. I'm still unsure if we're going to be taking the car to the dyno or if the owner is going to take the car to the dyno, but he told me it doesn't matter if I take the car in or if he takes the car in for a tune. I just need to contact my tuner to see if we can try to squeeze in at about the time this car will be done, so there's no fat gaps in between, but we'll figure that out as we go. First thing I'm going to do, guys, is get the car up in jack stands, and we're going to drain the cooling system because we need to modify the heater hoses for this turbo manifold that we're going to be using. Now, if you guys don't remember, we are running a Just TIG rear log top mount setup. This thing has wastegate priority because it goes literally directly into the wastegate right here. So the only thing about this manifold, because the wastegate is placed where it's at, it interferes with the heater hoses, which you guys can see right here, right? And what we need to do is we need to reroute this hose right here, and we need to shorten this water pipe back and run a longer heater hose to go underneath the wastegate, because it also kind of lands on the wastegate placement. And then this engine harness is long enough, it's just zip tied right here on the firewall, and I could just unzip that and bring the harness down low. But if you got like a race car style, you don't have any heater hoses, you shouldn't have any issues with this whatsoever. You can obviously choose a different manifold setup, but you know, for the case of the K28-3, we're not making a ton of power, and this manifold will work perfectly. And if he decides to want to swap the motor later or turn it up or whatever the case may be, this manifold will still support 600 plus horsepower. So we're going to be modifying this really quickly, guys. I've already shown this in 2 other videos, and I'm just going to go ahead and just knock it out. And another thing I noticed too is that there's no bolt right here on the top part of the mount, and that's typically because this thread pitch is not a Honda thread pitch, and the bolt that comes with it don't thread into it. And I actually covered this in my blue all-wheel drive car as well as Project Blueberry. You either got to hollow it out and put a bolt through it, or find the correct bolt for the thread pitch. We're gonna fix that. So this right here is the barb that sits on the cylinder head that the hose connects to the heater core. And then this right here is the block off on the passenger side of the engine underneath the VTEC solenoid for the oil cooler that this engine doesn't come with. I'm gonna show you guys what I'm gonna do with these. So here's the after, guys. You can barely see it, but it's all TIG welded up. What I ended up doing was this plug that was for the oil cooler water port, I drilled it through, right? And then this was the barb that was for the heater hose right here. And what I did was I chopped it off, the barb right here, this whole section, and then I welded it onto the block off screw for the oil cooler, and made this the new passageway for the heater hose, right? So it's going to go that way now instead of right here to the cylinder head. And then this one, I just stuck a 17mm bolt into it, and then I TIG welded it shut just so that we can still have a head to use a ratchet and socket on to tighten it up into the cylinder head. So these right here are the solution for the heater hose that goes to the cylinder head. You can buy this from Track Tough. He does make a specific kit for the relocation of the heater hose. In my case, because I needed it now, I made these instead. So the second hose, we modified the water tube. We shortened it back a little bit, and I did find this random hose, which I believe came off my wagon. Since we have the same manifold, I did change the setup. This hose right here fits perfectly to the heater core from the water pipe, and it is long enough to kind of tuck it underneath right here towards the transmission to clear the wastegate. Now, I don't have the wastegate on the manifold yet, but I just want to show you our clearance now. The turbo manifold now goes all the way flush against the cylinder head, and we have all this space right here for the wastegate and plenty of room right here to make a dump tube. So right now I'm going to go ahead and assemble the turbo and the wastegate onto the turbo manifold, and we're going to get all three of those installed onto the cylinder head tonight. Turbo Smart 45 Hypergate, guys. Shout out to the homie Nomis Industries for plugging me in with this. If you guys need any Turbo Smart components, hit up Nomis Industries because he is a distributor. So we're going to be assembling this 45mm wastegate onto the turbo manifold. Look at this beautiful thing right here. I did ask the owner what color gate he wanted. He said red, and I also got the blow valve in red as well too, just so it's all matching. I'm going to make sure the spring inside here is the 12-pound spring. It's as easy as just turning this collar. All right, we have a green and a yellow. I just checked the chart. Yellow is 5, green is 7, 12 pounds. On the box right here, it says 12 pounds. So we're gonna go ahead and throw this thing back in. We are gonna be boosting this car off the gate only, which means we're not gonna be running a boost controller. 12 pounds is where we wanna keep it, especially because we're keeping it on pump gas and because it's an EP3 K20. We're really not trying to push it too far. I'm not going to fully take off the saran wrap. I want to keep this manifold clean and free of oil, because when your manifold is clean and it goes through its first heat cycle, it's going to burn really nice. So wastegate, don't forget your firing ring. This guy right here is what seals the wastegate to the manifold. We have our clamp right here. I'm going to pre-point it backwards because the dump tube's going to come this way. I am going to also put on the dump tube flange and clamp because we are going to be mocking up the dump tube material. We are rocking an eBay GTX 3582R turbo. This thing is good to like 750, 800 depending on the back housing, and this thing is going to do wonders. Especially this back housing is a 0.82. This is typically like the smallest I'd run on a K series, but if you want faster spool, you can go down to like a 63. Because this is a top mount manifold, I am going to position the oil return fitting right here facing down. I am going to loosen up the hardware for the compressor housing because we still need to clock the compressor housing to build the charge pipe to go towards the intercooler. We're not going to fully take it all the way out, just enough to spin it. Now we can spin the compressor housing to position it. I am going to install the return flange as well too. Pretty sure I have one right here. So I did notice that this turbo is a GT series where the flange bolt hole is closer together, and then a journal bearing is actually wider. So I did forget to order the hardware for the turbo to the manifold. I ordered it like 20 minutes ago, so hopefully it'll be here in the next day or so. So right now I'm just going to use some Honda hardware to secure the turbo to the manifold, just so we can push forward with some progress. Having a turbo temporarily on the manifold will allow me to do the dump tube, the downpipe, and the charge pipe and stuff. So now let's go ahead and get this thing mocked up inside the car and see what we're working with. So we have the turbo, the manifold, and the wastegate mocked up into the engine, and this is the reason why I left the compressor housing loose, just so we can figure out what is the best position to build our charge pipe to go down to the turbo, whether it points up or points down. But we left that loose. The wastegate is also loose, but I noticed that this fitting right here, it's touching the shift cable, so I might have to swap it out with the block off plug right there and just kind of swap-a-roo. Realistically, I could just leave it open since we're running no boost controller and we're only needing a vacuum line to this port right here, but we'll figure that out once we actually position the wastegate where we need it to point to. But other than that, I mean, the next thing I want to get into is the return line, since you know, I don't want to get too crazy with like cutting metal right now to build a downpipe. I want to build the return line just because it's a straight shot from right there to the side of the timing cover, because we're going to be doing that return line style instead of dropping the oil pan and welding a bung onto it. Let me show you guys. So this plate right here bolts up to the tensioner cover, and it has a -10 ORB on it where your return line can drain the oil back into. So this is what we're going to use, and I'm going to go ahead and just install it onto the timing cover, and I'll show you guys what it looks like. Guys, look what I just found in the garage. You, go away. Lucy. Lucy. Stop. You, go away. Lucy. Came out of nowhere. I was sitting there building the return line, and I seen Lucy was like following something, and then I looked under the table near the trash can. It was this little sucker. Bro, where you come from? Crazy. Alright guys, so I came out here earlier and I started like messing with the downpipe, and I wasn't satisfied with the amount of pies I had to use to build this downpipe. So I took off to the homie KELLYBUILT and grabbed some material from him. But you know, every time I don't see a homie for quite some time, we hang out, we catch up, and yeah, well, the sun's going down again. But he gave me a bunch of cut-off pieces from previous jobs that he's done, and I can use a lot of this stuff for either, you know, filling in some gaps between whatever fab I'm doing, or using a bunch of this stuff for practice. There's a bunch of stainless in here, there's a bunch of aluminum in here, and I should have thought about this beforehand, but the two new pieces is buried all the way down there somewhere. So let me dig that out real quick. So I got two long 90 stainless right here in 3-inch to kind of eliminate the amount of pies I was going to use, and there are some cutoff 45s in here somewhere that I can also use to make this downpipe. But we got some fresh material right here, guys, and I'm gonna have to find a place for this, but I'm gonna go ahead and try to at least build the downpipe right now, and hopefully try to knock out a dump tube as well, because I also got some material for that. If I'm being honest with you guys, I did come out here a little late today because it was raining all morning, which is weird because it was like sunny one day, and then next thing you know, it's all cloudy, and this is all water, and obviously I'm missing the tarp here, so rain was drizzling. Anyways, downpipe, dump tube, we fabricated it last night. We got it installed. Dump tube right there, right behind the transmission. There's a lot of space with the EK, so I decided to just dump it right there since the engine torques backward anyways. Downpipe all welded up and secured as well. I did put the O2 sensor bung right there and relocated the sensor that was actually in the center console in the tunnel, and I rerouted through here. Now it's sitting right there. Hopefully this is actually working to the ECU, because if you guys didn't know, the RSX O2 sensor is a built-in wideband. So if this reads to the ECU, technically you can tune off of this sensor. It is loose because all this is going to come back out eventually, but downpipe is all made up. I did cut the downpipe short right there. I still need to build the back half of that with the flex pipe and everything, and the V-band to the exhaust, but I'm waiting on getting the new muffler that I'm supposed to go pick up tonight if the guy hits me back up, and then I want to bolt the back muffler to get the mid pipe to sit where it needs to, then build that front section to the back half of the downpipe. So that's why I left it open right there, but the main part of the downpipe is all said and done. I've been waiting for Amazon all day because I ordered the bolts that bolt the turbo to the manifold, and also the oil feed adapter that goes on to the block where the oil pressure sensor is at, just so I can run the feed line to the turbo, because it all ties in together with installing the hot parts in today's video. I guess I'll just give Amazon a little bit more time to see if they'll pull up so we can try to install it. Otherwise, what we wanted to do in today's video is done. Guys, I've been waiting all day for Amazon to drop off some packages. One is the bolts for the turbo to the manifold, and two is the adapter for the feed line to the block. The adapter to the feed line to the block is here, but the bolts for the turbo to the manifold isn't, and I wanted to install all of that in this video because it all pertains to the hot parts of the turbo kit, which includes the manifold, the turbo, the wastegate, dump tube, downpipe, which we all did, but we need the bolts to officially put the turbo onto the manifold, and then the manifold and everything could be tied into the head like permanently. We already did the return line as well too, and the feed line is the other thing we need to feed the turbo, and I'm not going to turn the turbo on without the bolts, because when you have a lot of heat bypassing the flange, you can warp the flange. So right now, me and my buddy Chewy is going to take off to go pick up something from Facebook Marketplace to kind of give Amazon a little bit more time to drop off those bolts. And if we get them when we come back, we're definitely going to try to install the entire turbo kit before I cap out this video. And also, for those who are hating, you guys remember the clap out Integra, right? Max Peating Rod GT30 Turbo, Max Peating Rod C1 coilover system. How's this thing holding up? Still running, still driving. E85 stock B22 by Geif over at Red Zone. Man, this thing is still chewing. Let's check this thing out real quick. It's been a while. It's been like 3 or 4 months that I haven't seen you, because I've been to LA and all that, and we turboed this thing earlier this year. Bro, look at this. Still going. Still working. Max Peating Rod GT30.
Like the day we put it in.
Yeah, like the day we put it in. Yeah, you know what? We're about to go take this thing on an hour drive right now.
Hour and some change?
Hour and some change, because there's a little traffic right now. But we're about to hit the road right now, guys. And hopefully we score this piece to kind of help button up that car when we're all said and done with it. Secured. All right, guys, so we're back home. Shout out to the homie Chewy. He's over there kind of letting his car cool off because it threw a check engine light right at the end for overheating, because he's still using that tiny little 10-inch fan on his turbo setup. But anyways, we're back now. It's about 9:30, and we picked up a Vibrant muffler. Now, if you guys haven't seen the first video to this series, or if I didn't mention it, the car has a 2.5 exhaust system, right? But the canister broke off, so the previous owner had put in a stock muffler in the car, and the car is like super congested, right? So I saw this on Facebook Marketplace, and it had the same exhaust that's on the car already, right? including this axle back, same flange and everything. This right here came off of an EK coupe, so same car practically, and it's already configured, right? So hopefully the flange is about the same and it bolts right up to make the entire exhaust system 2.5. So I picked this up for 75 bucks, vibrant muffler with the tip on it. You can see it right there, vibrant. And we're just gonna clean it up. Hopefully it doesn't take too much mod to make it fit, but that's gonna be for, you know, towards the end of the build, right? And we gave Amazon like another 2 hours to pull up to drop off those bolts I ordered a couple of days ago. They still didn't show up, so that sucks because I really wanted to button up the entire hot parts turbo kit installation into the car. I really wanted to button up the turbo to the manifold and then get the manifold like fully bolted down with the gasket and everything. But you know, sometimes that's just the way the cookie crumbles. So with that being said, we're gonna wrap it up right here, man. Like I said, what we were trying to do was build a downpipe, the dump tube, mock everything up, and I think we did just that. I'm really stoked about how the downpipe came out. Haven't really spent too much to like learn and get better with welding, but I have been this last couple of weeks, and the way this downpipe came out, super stoked on how it turned out. Dump tube is on as well too, but like I said, all this is going to come back out eventually. But for what we were trying to do in today's video, we did that. And you know, I think we're just gonna, you know, wait for the parts to show up and carry on with it when it shows up. But for the meantime, I want to move forward to like all the charge pipe and everything, which is going to start tomorrow for me, probably next video for you guys. But with that being said, guys, we're going to wrap it up right here. Part 1 of turboing the EK with a K-swap. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, be sure to leave a thumbs up. And if you guys want to stick around for part 2, the intercooler, charge pipe, blow valve stuff, be sure to hit the subscribe button. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.